The hardest thing to do in business, part 1. Building an efficient organization, from the post of Dr. Strive Masiyiwa. As an entrepreneur, you may have a great idea or innovation which you believe is going to change your community, your country, or maybe even the world we live in. And you will probably make a lot of money along the way. That's allowed, and there is nothing wrong with it, provided you don't harm others, the environment, or break the law. Go ahead, make money, be a billionaire, and you know I will be right there cheering you all the way. But before you can ever get there, you will have to build an efficient business organization, employing lots of people, because no one can do these things alone. In this new series, I am going to talk about what I call the hardest thing to do in business, building an efficient organization. You will face many different challenges as an entrepreneur, but the most difficult is building an efficient organization. What do I mean by efficient? Let me start with one formal definition: achieving maximum productivity with minimum wasted effort or expense. Most people fail dismally in this area. It is at once the most difficult and most complex thing that any entrepreneur ever has to do. In this series, we will talk about many issues, including registering a business, recruiting and hiring your team, and organizational structure. This is business, MBA stuff, and if you just want to run a little bottle store, it might be tough for you. But if you think you can open more than one bottle store, hang around and see. As they say in my beloved Nigeria, it is for the senior class. You won't be the next Dangote or Zuckerberg if you don't know how to set up an efficient business organization. To lay the foundations for this series, here is another definition. The Cambridge Dictionary describes organization as a group whose members work together for a shared purpose in a continuing way. The verb organize is also important here. It means to make the necessary plans for something to happen, arrange. Do I really need to write much more? If only it were as simple and straightforward as it sounds. Building an organization has many different aspects. Can you tell me the importance of nearly each and every word in these three definitions? Organizations can be almost any size, but the ones I will be talking about here are ones that involve a hierarchy of authority and delegation, executive leadership, mid-level management, technical experts, frontline supervisors, and employees in different departments, most with different operational functions. This means a complex array of people with different talents and skills, like those I am proud and blessed to have on our company's teams globally. Maybe different roles and gifts, but the key non-negotiable ingredients: integrity, shared vision, mutual respect, accountability. I won't dwell on problems so much as solutions in this series, but to get started, here is a list from MC Kinsey's report on some of the biggest challenges faced by companies, young and old, trying to build organizational capability. Organizational resistance to change, lack of resources, lack of credible metrics, lack of identification of who is accountable for execution, inability to gain attention and buy-in from line managers, lack of senior management support, lack of clear vision or objectives, ineffective training approaches, inconsistent application of methods, processes. Now you see why I have said building an efficient organization is the hardest thing to do in business. But with great people on your team, all is possible. We will get started on this and more next time. I once read somewhere, if everything is important, then nothing is. Time is precious. Building an efficient organization means hard choices. You may naturally be buried in day-to-day work, but never lose sight of the company's vision and the core values. Set your priorities each day and stick to them. Otherwise, chances are good at your scattered efforts will lead you and maybe your whole organization every which way except forward. As I wrote a few weeks ago, know your strengths and where you are going. This goes for companies too. There is nothing that unsettles me more than a disorganized person. I just don't want them around me. Similarly, I don't like disorganized situations of any kind. One of my favorite all-time books is a little book called Shackleton's Way. I read this when I faced some of the toughest leadership challenges of my career. I was totally stunned when I read it. You would be wise to include it in your reading list. I don't need to tell you where to find it because that information is in your smartphone already. When my business was still relatively small, there was nothing I enjoyed more than to visit with every single project and meet with my staff. Sometimes I would visit a project several times a day. It was a wonderful way to run the business. But as it grew bigger and bigger, it became inefficient. So what do you do when the business is in 20 or 100 countries? Have you ever thought about it? Or when the business has 500,000 employees, like some of the global giants? These are the types of questions in this series must cause you to think about.